Jim.
Good morning.
The £192 million budget for these border control posts, the DUP have told us the following. DEFRA have indicated a maximum funding envelope that would be used across 4 ports in Northern Ireland. The infrastructure in question is for checks on goods moving in the red lane, save for those necessary to tackle criminality, abuse of the scheme, smuggling and disease risk. The red lane for goods moving onwards to the European Union formed part of the protocol bill, which enjoyed cross-unionist support. What's your reaction to that, Jim?
Well, the reaction is, Sir Geoffrey Donaldson told us that the Irish Sea border was gone. Our place had been fully restored as in the United Kingdom. And now £192 million is to be spent on a border which doesn't exist, according to him. And more than that, I had an answer last week from the Agriculture Minister telling us that 151 of his staff are working at this non-existing border, and he needs to recruit more, and he's recruiting another 28. The whole spin over the Donaldson deal was largely a con, because not one word of the protocol was changed by it. Not one syllable of EU law was disapplied, and that really is the nub of the matter. Under the protocol, we are subjected to hundreds upon hundreds of EU laws, and it is those EU laws which are blocking the import of trees, which are blocking the import of various animals, which are insisting that amalgams for teeth fillings it can no longer be used, which are blocking veterinary medicines. None of that has changed, because not one word of the protocol that imposed that has been changed by the Donaldson deal. So all those things still apply. And we still have this tree border, this people border, this goods border, this animal border, this medicine border for veterinaries in the Irish Sea. Why? Because the protocol puts Northern Ireland in a place that we're regarded as part of the EU. These are the EU rules. Therefore, they apply to us. GB, under that same protocol, is treated as a foreign country, and therefore there must be checks on all the goods coming into the EU, of which, for these purposes, we're decreed to be a part. None of that has changed.
But if goods need to be checked at a red lane because they have the potential to be going into the EU, you understand the necessity for any country, or indeed the EU, to protect its border. And the DUP is saying that is what this money is being spent on, and then, for those goods moving into the red lane, necessary to tackle criminality, abuse of the scheme, smuggling and disease risk.
Yes, but Stephen, the EU border should not be at Larne or Belfast or Warren Point. Let me give you an illustration. I have a constituent in Cullybacky. His hobby is breeding budgies. To bring a budgie in, and he's had this experience from England, he has to have a veterinary certificate in the English side, he has to have a veterinary certificate in Northern Ireland, and he has to pay the money that goes with that. Now, I didn't think that the EU single market was so fragile that it couldn't withstand the import of a budgie from England, yet that seems to be the position we're in. Now we're told that native trees cannot be brought into Northern Ireland because they offend an EU list that governs us. I have a situation where I have farmers who have bought cattle in Scotland and England, can't bring them in because there's blue tongue in the south of England, not where they bought them. Blue tongue, any country with blue tongue is banned from importing into the EU. So you're banned from importing, even though there's no blue tongue in the area, even though it's not the season of blue tongue. You're banned from bringing those cattle into the EU, into Northern Ireland, and those farmers are having to pay to keep those cattle in England.
Well, let's see.
And now the Agriculture Minister tells me that could go on for the next 2 years. The border is very much sadly alive and well.
Maybe you can stay there. Not sure what your diary's like, but if you can stay, we'd appreciate it if you can. 03030